Oh, you chatting away? Are you chatting away? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back for a brand new video. So I have actually kind of been putting off filming this video for a couple of reasons. I had been saying I wanted to film this, but it's really hard. Like, if I'm going to be completely honest, I've had a really, really gorgeous and lovely postpartum experience, and my labour was stunning, and everything for me has gone really, really well, like better than I could have ever imagined. And for some reason, social media can be a really toxic, horrible place that people actually make you feel bad for having a good experience. Like, every single mum is amazing. Every single experience is amazing. No matter what you struggle with, go through, however your postpartum experience is, you're doing the best job you can. You're doing amazing. And it doesn't matter if your postpartum experience doesn't look like somebody else's. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't make you a bad mum, doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It's just the way that your experience has gone. But I have been finding that I keep seeing TikToks of people like saying like, oh, loads of people paint this perfect picture of postpartum and blah, blah, blah. But like, I'm not going to hide the fact that I'm having a lovely time, and like, I don't want to be made to feel guilty for having a good time. Of course, my heart goes out to anybody that's having a bad experience or struggling. Like, it must be atrocious, and don't get me wrong, not everything has been perfect, but I have had a lovely experience. But yeah, there's just some parts of social media that make you feel like you shouldn't be having a nice time, and that you can't share that you're happy and thriving, and you know, it's a bit crap, to be honest. It really is. And don't get me wrong, I can imagine struggling is a lot crapper than the way that I feel from seeing people's opinions and stuff. I didn't want the fact that people have negative opinions on people sharing the good side to stop me from filming this video, because when I was pregnant, before I had the baby, luckily I had sisters that have had babies, and I've got a lot of experience in being around newborns and stuff, so I kind of knew exactly what to expect. But there was a lot of negativity on social media, and it's enough to scare people. Like, even I, who has had the experience, oh no, he's just been sick. And even I, who's been around the experience 5 times in the past 5 years, well, 6 now that I've got Bobby, even I was seeing stuff on social media that was scaring me, like the sleepless nights and the colic and the reflux and the unsettled babies and the awful postpartum experience and the awful birthing experiences and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, it happens, it does happen. But seeing it all over social media did really terrify me, I'm not gonna lie. And I haven't experienced any of that. Like, I've been so lucky and so blessed that Bobby has been a really easy baby so far, and I'm very, very aware that things can change. They can. But coming from somebody that was scared because of things on social media, I wanted to put this video out there just to show that it's not all bad. Don't get me wrong, it might be for you. Like, just because you've watched this video, it doesn't mean your experience will be like this. But if I can put one person at ease, if I can make one person feel a little bit less stressed about postpartum, that's what I want to do. So this intro has been very long, apologies, but I just wanted to put that out there, that I don't want to stop sharing my journey on social media because it's positive, because I think that's really unfair, and people shouldn't make you feel like you can't be honest and show the positive side of babies, you know? So that's what I'm here to do today. I'm going to talk you through my experience, my postpartum journey so far. I'm pretty much 1 month postpartum now. By the time you watch this video, I probably will be bang on 1 month postpartum. So I feel like I've had a couple of weeks now where I can talk you through what I've done, what I didn't like, what I did like, what I would change, how I found it, that kind of thing. But yeah, please don't compare yourself to my journey in any way, shape or form, but I do really want this to just be a positive video so that you don't feel so scared about postpartum. I might switch this lamp on, it's quite dark. Is that better? So yeah, that's that basically. Now that's out the way. I also had a C-section. If you haven't watched my C-section video, I would recommend going and watch that first so that you can see my labour story and my birth story and what went down and what happened and how I welcomed Bobby into this world. But yeah, this video is just going to be about my postpartum experience. I'm going to try and get through it as quick as I can, but I'm going to try and cover everything. Stupidly, I didn't write anything down. I'm not that proactive in thinking. Like, I should have wrote everything down week by week, day by day, how I found things. So I'm going to just try my best to remember things from start to finish to bring you back up to today. So obviously I had Bobby on the 26th of January at 3 p.m. and I was wheeled into the recovery room and I was left there until about 11 p.m. I think. So I was on the recovery ward for quite a few hours. Just whilst I got my feeling back into my legs, I had some observations done every like half an hour. I had my catheter in at this point still. I had my catheter in until the following morning at about 5 a.m. So I had it in for less than 24 hours. It was about, yeah, about 12 hours-ish. And having the catheter removed really wasn't as bad as you think, guys. I was petrified of having my catheter put in and put out. Didn't even feel it being put in first of all because I was numb the whole way down, and having it taken out, you kind of felt like a tickle and like a release, like you felt it come out, but it was not painful. So just to put that out there, the catheter was fine. So I was on the recovery ward for a little while whilst they just kept checking me over, kept doing baby's observations, and yeah, then we were all good to go back up to the labour ward at about 11 p.m. But whilst I was on the recovery ward, like I said, they just did my observations, and 6 hours after I'd had my C-section, I was up and walking. I say up and walking, I took a couple of steps to a sink and then I took a couple of steps around the ward. But I don't know what they are, they're not midwives, I don't think. Just the lady on the recovery ward really wanted me to get up and about when I got the feeling back in my legs. So yeah, I was up and walking 6 hours after. Again, like I said, I saw so much on social media about people not being up and about for 24 to 48 hours after. I managed to walk 6 hours after, so it just goes to show that everyone's experience truly is so different. Don't get me wrong, it was really scary standing up. I felt a little bit lightheaded, I felt really weak, but I managed to make it over to the sink and wash my face, and then the lady said, right, whilst you're up and you're okay, let's do a little bit more walking, and that was fine. And then I did have enough and I did say, I want to sit back down now, like, I'm scared. But that was absolutely fine, like absolutely fine. It really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I had Tom and the lady supporting me, and yeah, walking for the first time really was fine. After my C-section, really weirdly, my face was so itchy. I have seen a lot of people saying like you get like uncontrollable itching, and I was thinking, what? That's so weird. Like, surely you can just shake that off and stop the itching. No, my face, I don't know if you've watched like my FaceTiming people to tell them I've had the baby and stuff videos, but I could not stop scratching my face, honestly. That was probably the worst thing, the itchiness on my face. Oh my god, that stopped probably maybe 5 or 6 hours after my C-section. It did last quite a long time, but yeah, the uncontrollable itching, oh, that was horrible. But that did just go away, and then it was absolutely fine. I had some tea and toast. I was sick twice after my C-section. I've seen a lot of people say that they were sick. It was only when I like consumed something. So I had a sip of tea and it came straight back out. I had some water, straight back out. A little bit of toast, straight back out. But I was sick twice, and then after that I stopped eating and drinking for a while. I just kind of said to myself, just if you don't feel hungry and you don't feel thirsty, then don't force yourself to do it, because otherwise you're just going to keep being sick. So I stopped eating and drinking for the rest of that day. I had some water like towards the end of the night. But yeah, that did happen quite quickly after the C-section actually. Maybe that's why, maybe I wasn't ready to eat or drink yet. But other than that, it was absolutely fine. I think that was it really on the recovery ward. The lady changed my pads and stuff for me, so I didn't have to worry about any of that. She kept checking me, changing my pads, changing anything that needed changing, just until I got the feeling back into my legs. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it on the recovery ward. We were just left to chill. We had some visitors. And I was very, very lucky that Tom was actually allowed to stay with me both nights. So I was in hospital for 2 nights and Tom did get to stay both nights. I don't know why, I don't know how. I know a lot of people don't get their partners to stay. Oh dear. And I feel like in my hospital, partners aren't usually allowed to stay. My sister's partners were never allowed to stay. But the lady that we had, she was lovely and she got us a little family suite. So Tom did have to sleep on a reclining chair, but he was allowed to stay the whole time, which was honestly a dream come true for me. I was so anxious about him having to leave. So I'm really grateful that she managed to do that for us and we had that room. I think that my experience in hospital would have been totally different if Tom hadn't stayed. Anyways, we went up to the labour ward, yeah, at about 11 p.m. I walked myself into a wheelchair and then they wheeled me up because it's quite a walk in our hospital. So yeah, I was wheeled up at about 11 o'clock and put onto the labour ward, and me and Tom, we just had the giggles. We honestly could not stop laughing. I honestly did not think they were going to let me take this child home because we're like children having children. We could not stop laughing. I'm not going to tell you all the things that were going on and happening because that's not what we're here for. We're here to talk about my recovery and postpartum experience. Honestly, the things that we were experiencing and doing and the things that were happening, we could not stop laughing, like uncontrollably laughing with tears. Like, it was just such a fun, nice experience, and I would go back and do it all again. So if you're feeling worried about being on the labour ward, don't worry. It's probably not going to be as bad as you think. We had a really fun time. Like, it was really fun. But yeah, then we were basically on the labour ward, and that was it. We were just left again. I had my observations, my pain relief. All I had was ibuprofen and paracetamol. Every few hours I would just take some. I didn't really ever have to ask for any. They were pretty good at topping me up. And when I got home, honestly guys, they say keep taking your medication, do not stop. And I did keep taking it, but I personally did not feel like I really needed it. I did keep taking it because I didn't want it to get bad, but honestly, the pain for me really was not as bad as I was expecting. Don't get me wrong, sitting up for the first few days, trying to move around for the first few days, you've had major surgery. Whether it hurts or not, it's gonna be hard. Like, it is gonna be hard. But for me, it was not as bad as I was expecting. Honestly, I'd read some horror stories. I was petrified, and I really was okay. I was walking around the hospital. It was very slow, very stiff, very sore. But I was able to go to the toilet by myself once the catheter had come out. I was going to make a cup of tea. Obviously, I had visitors in the hospital. I was up and down. Like, honestly, it really was not as bad as I thought. Getting out of bed was really hard, and having the hospital bed moving up and down was really handy when I got home. And obviously, I only had my bed. That was pretty tricky. But only for like the first 2 days, honestly. It didn't take long for me to be able to just do things myself again. On day 4, me and Tom were out on a walk. We went to the coffee shop in our little village. Day 5, we were out at Nando's. Like, honestly, my recovery has been incredible. I could not have asked for better, really. Like, I've just felt like the more I've got on with things, the better. I know they say relax and don't do this and don't do that, but honestly, when I was home, I was hoovering. The day I got home, I was literally hoovering the house. Just getting my body moving, but obviously not doing too much. But yeah, pain-wise, that did kind of wear off pretty quick. My scar, so they stitched my scar up inside. I'm not sure how they do everybody's scars, but in my hospital, they stitched me up inside and then just glued my scar closed. My scar still has a lot of healing to do, I will say that. It's still a little bit sore to touch, but nothing major. There's a lot of glue still stuck to my skin, but I don't want to scrub it, I don't want to wash it. I've just been letting it do its thing. I didn't look at my scar for a few days, so one thing that I was scared about was seeing the incision. I wasn't worried about the C-section, I wasn't worried about having surgery, but like seeing it and knowing that it's actually happened, like that was something that really did kind of scare me. And my mum and sisters kept saying, just look at it, it's really not that bad, like just look at it. And Tom was like, honestly, it's really not what you think. But I just could not bring myself to look at it for about 3 or 4 days. When I did, I was a little bit like, ugh, but it honestly is not that bad. But the pain of the scar, yeah, I do still feel it now, definitely, but not too major. It's been okay. Bleeding, I'm still bleeding. So I'll be 4 weeks postpartum on Sunday, and it's currently Friday, and I am still bleeding. Some days there's a lot, some days there's hardly anything. It's just up and down. I've just been wearing pads every single day. I would recommend the Freedom Mum shorts, by the way. People have been asking me like what I had in my hospital bag that I'd recommend. The Freedom Mum boy shorts, saviour. I ran out and I didn't buy any more, but it's kind of a bit too late now, to be honest. But I wish I had more because I would still be wearing them to this day. I'm not joking. They were the comfiest things ever. It was just like such a relief to not have anything too tight around my scar. And like you just didn't have to think about anything. Obviously you put the pad in the shorts, but oh, they were just the best thing ever. So whilst I was on the ward, I had some blood thinning injections, and I did have to take these home, and Tom had to give me these. So I had to take them for 10 days. So obviously I was in hospital for 2. So they did them twice in hospital, and then Tom did the rest for me. They were just like tiny little needles. Sorry if you don't like needles or the talk of needles, but they're just tiny little needles that go into like fatty places in the bottom half of your body. You can do it in your bum, you can do it in your thigh. And Tom did those for me, and they were not too bad. I was really petrified of having these done as well because I'm not scared of needles, but I think it was the fact that Tom was doing it. Just made me cringe and queasy. But honestly, they weren't too bad either. I didn't really have any swelling on my legs. I did wear my like stockings for a few days just to like help the swelling, but when my midwife came around, she said you can take those off, you don't need to be wearing those. Yeah, I've had a really like C-section recovery wise, honestly, it's not been so bad. Like I said, everyone's experience is different, so don't think that because mine's been like this that yours will be the same. Like, I don't want you to think that it's going to be the same and then you're really traumatized at your experience, but don't worry about it. Like, don't sit there and worry and think it's going to be negative, because it could be a really positive recovery. I was also worried about Tom going back to work because of the driving situation, so I was led to believe that you can't drive for 6 weeks after a C-section, which is actually not true. It all depends on what your doctor says, your insurance, and your health basically. So my health visitor came around after about 2.5 weeks. I said, are you driving yet? And I was like, I thought you had to be 6 weeks postpartum to drive. Not true. As long as your insurance covers you after the surgery, you can drive when you feel ready to drive. So I contacted my insurance. They had no like different policies about C-sections and surgery. They didn't need to know. They just said as long as you feel medically well enough to drive, then you drive. So me and Tom went out on Sunday last week, so I would have been 3 weeks postpartum, and I drove around with Tom in the car just to make sure that I could do it, and I could. So I've been driving from three weeks postpartum, which has been a dream for me because I live near my family, but I live like not in walking distance. So for the first week when Tom had gone back to work, I was relying on lifts from my mum and stuff, which obviously wasn't a problem, but it does make you feel a little bit just like useless, like not being able to just jump in your car. So yeah, being back driving has definitely given me that independence and just like confidence back in like being independent and just being able to do what I want. It's made life a lot easier. So yeah, I've been driving from 3 weeks postpartum. So again, you might not have that experience, your insurance might not cover you, you might not feel ready, which is absolutely fine. And I don't want anybody watching this that's had a C-section and had a different experience to think that they've done a bad job or anything. Like, you are incredible for having a C-section and recovering, whether it's taken you 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 weeks, 6 months, it doesn't matter. Everyone is different. To put it out there that you can be driving at 3 weeks, like, that was such a relief for me, and I wish I'd known that before because that was something that was really stressing me out. And in terms of mental and emotional recovery, again, I'm so blessed and so lucky that this has also been positive for me. I think having Bobby has definitely helped. He's been a really, really chilled out, happy baby so far. And again, I know this can change at any point and I'm not taking it for granted and I'm not jinxing anything. But so far, so good. He sleeps really well, he eats really well, he feeds really well. He hasn't had any sort of like problems with his feeding or anything. We haven't had to change the formula yet. We haven't had to do anything. Like, honestly, he's been such a dream. And I think that's definitely helped with like my mental and emotional recovery, like postpartum. I think I maybe had baby blues for like one day. I remember there was one day and I just could not stop crying at night time. I didn't know what I was crying about. I wasn't upset, I wasn't sad, nothing had gone wrong. I think it was just like, it just taken a toll on me, and I don't even know if it was baby blues. I was more just emotional that everything was going so fast. Like, I just wanted time to slow down, and it's just a lot for your body to go through. And even if you are having a good experience, like, you've still been put through it, and that's what I was explaining to Tom last night. Like, sometimes my emotions can be up and down, but they change really quickly. But like, even though I'm having such a lovely time, my body has still been through a lot and my hormones are changing, and I can be as positive as I want, but internally my hormones are changing. Naturally they're changing. So it's just one of those things that, yeah, I don't know. I've not really struggled massively, but there has been some days where I've been like, oh, this is hard, when he's not even being hard. It's just like mentally challenging being a mum. Also, for showering, I had a lot of people saying that you can't shower for a long time, or like, when I was packing my hospital bag, loads of people saying, why are you taking that? You're not even going to have a shower. I had a shower in the hospital. I felt well enough to. I felt like I wanted to. It wasn't on the first day, I don't think. It was the day I came home. So yeah, the second morning of being in hospital, I got up and had a shower. It was hard, but not like too hard. It didn't hurt my scar or anything. It was just a case of making sure no soap got into my scar. Here's for Dad. How's your postpartum experience been?
Lovely.
He's been enjoying every moment.
He makes life easy, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
He's a good boy.
But yeah, I had a shower in the hospital and it was absolutely fine. So if that's something you're worried about, you can have a shower if you want one. My midwife actually said I could have had a shower the day of the C-section if I wanted one. I just didn't feel like ready to do that or feel like I needed to. And that's it really. That's just taken us up to about now. And I would say we're thriving, aren't we? There's good times, bad times, happy times, emotional times. We just take every minute. What's the phrase? Every day as it comes, every second as it comes. But yeah, we're having a lovely time. And like I said, obviously everyone's experience is different, but I would have loved to have seen someone's positive experience. So I'm hoping that this will make someone feel less scared about the C-section recovery, because for me it really has not been that bad. There's not really much more to cover, I don't think. I've spoke about my recovery pretty much, and I think that's that.
You've been alright, haven't you, Go?
Yeah, I've been absolutely fine. A couple of emotional days and emotional times, but that's normal. I say days, it's just a couple of hours, isn't it? And then
yeah,
it's all back to normal. It's just a lot for your body to go through, to be honest. And I just did what you did.
Really?
Then on the sofa.
And I'm not going to tell you off, so don't ever tell me.
Well, you're the one that broke it.
Isn't it, Bobs?
We've had so many visitors as well, which I think at the time we loved it, didn't we? Like, loved it, and I wouldn't change it because I wanted everybody to meet him as soon as they possibly could. But there was some days where it did kind of just hit you a little bit, didn't it? Like, we'd be like, whoa, this is like overwhelming. Not that I was cared about anyone being here, like it was nice to have company and it was nice for everybody to meet him, but there was days where like the door did not stop and it would get to like 6 o'clock and we would literally be like,
I think because you didn't have a breather at all through the whole day. Like, again, it was nice seeing people, but you'd have one person come in the door, next person would come, you wouldn't even get like half an hour.
Yeah, just to chill. And just to like, even just to hold him yourself or like see him yourself. I mean, I would never change it. Like, it was a really nice time and seeing everyone and stuff. And then all of a sudden, everybody goes away and then you're like, oh, we've got no visitors anymore. Novelty wears off. No one wants to come round anymore. And it's just me and Bob's. Tom's back at work. But no, it was nice. But I feel like, don't feel pressured to have people round. I don't know if next time we'd do it differently. Probably not.
I don't think it was bad at all. I think some days we're going to get like that naturally. So it's what it is, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it just made time go really fast though, because we didn't have time to just like sit on our own, you know? Like, we'd go to bed and it would be like, well, now we need to go to sleep.
Yeah.
So maybe next time we'd spread them out a little bit more, but we had visitors in the hospital and that was nice. I wouldn't change that. It was nice to have the company in there. And like, we're not bored in there, but like, there's obviously nothing to do. So having people pop in to see us in hospital was really nice. But yeah, visitors at home. Don't feel pressured. If you want to have them, have them. If you don't. It's your child, it's your recovery, it's what you want to do. But that's the thing, it didn't affect, I think if I was struggling with recovery, it would have been different. But because I was alright, I didn't mind having people here. Whereas if I couldn't walk or couldn't move or was struggling, I think it would be really different. But yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. We're kind of all back to normal. We've been discharged from the midwives. We were discharged on day 10, I think. We've got one more health visitor appointment. I've obviously got my 6-week check in 2 weeks. And I think that's it. We're pretty much recovered. I don't know how long like the postpartum period goes on for. Like, when do you stop saying you're postpartum? I don't know if you ever do you? Because you're just a year postpartum, 2 years postpartum. Oh my god, one thing I will actually say, which I forgot to talk about, my boobs. Oh, the boobs. No one warned me about the boobs. So I never breastfed. I didn't pump any colostrum. I didn't do any of that. He was straight onto formula, which was just personal choice. And I knew that my boobs would get milk and I knew that they would like leak, but oh my goodness. How many days after was it when my boobs like swollen up? You were still off work, weren't you?
Yeah.
Maybe in the first week or the first 2 weeks. Oh, the pain, I'm not joking. I woke up and I could not even sit up. I was like, Tom, I cannot get up. He was like, what? I was like, no. Like, I felt like there was bricks holding me down in bed. And I sat up and I looked in the mirror and my boobs, the pain, the actual pain, I had to get in the bath and just soak them and then put like ice cold things on my boobs to just like soothe them. And I'd say that probably lasted 3 or 4 days, the painful boobs. They are still leaking now. Like I said, I'm almost 4 weeks postpartum and my boobs do still leak every now and then. But not majorly. And again, I think everybody's is different. It just depends how much milk you get in your supply and stuff. But yeah, the pain of that was not fun. But yeah, that was something I was not prepared for and something that no one warned me about, the boobs. But other than that, I think we're all good. That was about it. I'm just editing this back, and there is one thing I forgot to mention that I was really nervous and scared about and actually was slightly bad. Not as bad as I thought, but ever so slightly bad, and that was the trap wind and going to the toilet for the first time. I had a lot of comments and a lot of horror stories about the trap wind. I didn't really get trap wind. That was okay. It was like maybe for an hour I had a bit of pain in my stomach. maybe did I have it a little bit more than that? Not really. No, the trap wind wasn't horrendous. It wasn't pleasant, it wasn't nice, but it really wasn't too bad. I had been drinking peppermint tea. I'd had maybe 3 or 4 peppermint teas, and I think that did actually really help and relieve a lot of the trap wind. And then going to the toilet for the first time. The first time was fine. I was petrified. I was so scared. I kept feeling myself need to go to the toilet and I just wouldn't allow myself to go because I was really scared of the pain. The first time was okay. I'm not gonna lie, it did gradually get a little bit worse. I'd say for maybe the first week, going to the toilet was fairly painful. And sorry if this is TMI, but my poo was really different to before. Like, it was very different. I guess it was my body just trying to like go back to normal. But yeah, that wasn't a pleasant experience. Would do it again. Like, it's fine. It wasn't like torturous. It wasn't like awful. But people did warn me that going to the toilet wasn't going to be nice, and it kind of wasn't for the first week. But that first one really wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And the trap wind wasn't too bad, but I definitely recommend the peppermint tea. That definitely helped. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I hope it's going to be helpful to some people, and I don't think your experience will be as negative as some of the things you see on social media, because that's what really scared me and put me off. So hopefully this video will make you feel a little bit more positive if you need it. But yeah, thank you for watching. Leave any questions below. Hopefully I've covered everything. If I haven't, I will answer them. I'm documenting a lot of it on TikTok, to be fair, so if you want to see any of that, follow me on TikTok. But yeah, see you in my next video. Ciao.
Bye.
Say bye. Oh, Bob's is waving. See ya.